Okay, it's officially summer in my book. I have my garden planted, I have my flowers planted. Now I just gotta practice my watercolor skills with botanicals. So I'm gonna copy another person I follow, Emily Lefebvre. She's doing a challenge where she opens the book, like a botanical book, this is mine, and whatever page she goes to, my eyes are closed, she has to paint that picture. Oh gosh, okay, so we are going to paint this mess, a mangrove. So let's do that together. Okay, so we're gonna paint this, and I'm going to spritz all my colors, get them ready. I don't think I'm gonna mix any colors for this. I'm gonna go straight out of the pan. There's my dogs barking. His neighbors are coming by. Okay, technical difficulties. My dogs were barking. And I think I'm gonna pre-sketch this one. I'm a little bit nervous about what this is gonna look like. I'm using my Arches hot pressed paper travel journal, and I'm very uncomfortable with this subject, but that's okay. I don't have to be comfortable with everything. I'm gonna just loosely get this stuff out of here. Sketch. I mean, the thing is, this is just a mess of branches. So, but I gotta play by the rules. I have to paint what I picked, so that's just what I'm gonna do. And we are going to go like this. I'm painting on a much thinner piece of paper, so I'm not gonna be able to get everything in. But I'm gonna try to make it semi, I guess, recognizable. Okay. So that's the sticks on the bottom, and then there's gonna be a mess up here that's gonna scare me, and I'm gonna do it anyway. And it's just lots of randomness. And I'm gonna go with it. Okay, so let's paint. Let's find a brush. What color do we got here? I think this is kind of like a burnt sienna. And this is hot press paper, so we're gonna really lean into looseness and being free and just going with the flow and not worrying about things. So picked up some Van Dyke Brown there. And get back to this kind of, what is this color? It is burnt sienna. Okay. And then this is just my first layer, so I'm gonna not be too critical of myself when I'm doing this, especially because it's just a subject I'm not very familiar with. So I'm working fast, because if I don't work fast, I'm gonna overthink it and then second guess, and then I just sit, and then there's nothing that's happening. So we just go really fast and we trust the process. And we ignore all the things in our head that's saying, oh my gosh, this is gonna be terrible. Because of course it's going to be wonky. It's a mangrove, and it's my first time doing this, so let's be kind to ourselves. Okay, so that's the first layer. Let's let that dry, and then we'll come back and do leaves and do some other detail work. Okay, this is mostly dry. And now we're just going to work on these leaves. Again, there's so many of them, so I'm just going to do my best to do what I think makes sense. I am not following the guide here because I will get overwhelmed, and then everything will look really perfect. And we know this about nature. Nothing looks perfect in nature. It's just a cluster, and I'm just gonna make little marks. I got this nice brush set for my birthday. Sorry, my children are screaming in the background. And so this brush actually still has a nice tip, unlike a lot of my other brushes that I wear down. And so I can make nice little leaf marks. And just like everything, they say to start light. In watercolor, sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. I started with that kind of green gold, and now I'm moving more into sap green to try to continue to get the colors, like adding depth. That means depth to me means like not everything is like one color. You're actually like going deeper into the tree. Like for example, as you go deeper into a green, you'd add more blue because there's more leaves stacked on top of each other. So you're like closer. To me, I think a lot of the depth is around the branch. So that's where you're going to put some of your darker colors. And then on the outer edge, the sunlight hits it some more. So you won't have all that darkness. So that's my attempt at, I guess, describing what depth is. Depth means like you're going into something. I have not gone to art school, so I could be totally wrong, but oh well. It's my world. And then now I've added even more blue. That was one thing when I first started watercolor. It blew my mind that all you did was add blue to a green to make it a darker green. I just, for some reason, I never had thought of that. I mean, why would you? I was never painting or anything beforehand, but I just thought it was so cool that you just add a little blue, and all it does is just makes it a little bit a darker green. So where there's a lot of leaves, you're gonna have more darkness, right? Because there's a bunch of leaves piled up, sun's not getting to it, so of course it's going to be a little darker in there. And I can even be really wild and tap in some indigo, which is like the darkest blue, but also very beautiful, in some of these other areas to really kind of lean into that darkness. Okay, and then just do a little bit more yellow. Okay, and then I'm gonna do something, again, everything is begged, borrowed, or stolen in art. I'm gonna borrow a little fun that I learned from Onmar Wynn. She has a little hot pink to everything. It's adorable. Look at that. It's a little pop. Okay, so now we're gonna go back and we are going to think about some of these finer details, meaning some of these branches that I wasn't able to get in the first swath, that maybe I want more loose. Okay, nothing really has to like be connected or anything. It's a cluster of trees, and our eyes will adjust. The human eye is an amazing thing. We make inferences without really looking at all the details. When we're looking at a picture, we fill in the gaps. So you don't have to make everything looking exactly like it does in a picture. You just want the like the gesture, the suggestion, I guess it's called, not the gesture, the suggestion of what the reader is looking at, the viewer is looking at, and their eyes will make out the rest. We got to trust the people looking at our art to understand what they're seeing. I mean, if they didn't know what a mangrove was, they'd probably be like, what is this thing? It's just like tentacles everywhere, but it's coming together. There's some texture on this bark that I'm just, again, I'm not going to make all the texture because then it's too perfect. Just a couple of dots to, again, I'm overusing this word, suggest texture. Nothing really too wild, just, you know, a little bit of something here and there to let you know, like, this is not a smooth surface, guys. Interpret this as bark. Okay. Would I have ever painted a mangrove had it not been for me picking it out of this book? Absolutely not. I would never have thought to paint a mangrove. Yet here we are. Now I'm just putting some shadow on one side of the branch over here. Again, this is another depth thing. We are telling the reader this is the bottom of things usually, because the sun is in the sky, are getting less light. So we are telling the viewer, you know, the sun is in the sky, you're not going to see. And it's kind of over here, because I have more of the darkness on this side, if you notice over here. And then I'm going to come in. I really like that pink. It does something. I'm adding some more darkness over here because I just told you the sun's coming from over here, so I really want there to be a difference. Okay, so that was my quick attempt at making a mangrove. Again, is it perfect? No. Does it suggest maybe a mangrove? Absolutely. Okay,